I hadn't thought about her in months. Not truly. Sure, her name, sometimes, lingered at the edge of my mind when a song played on the radio, or when I walked past that little Italian place downtown, but mostly Emily had turned into a faint shadow of my past. Harsh. Edges softened by time. Memories faded, like old pictures left under the sun. Then, on a rainy Thursday evening, my phone buzzed. Her name, still saved in my contacts, after all these years, stared back at me, like a ghost I never expected to see again. For a long moment, I just froze, watching the screen. 5 years since the divorce. 5 years since I packed my things, signed the papers, and swore I'd never look back. And now she was calling. Hello. My voice sounded steady, but my heart wasn't. It hammered hard, betraying the calm I tried to hold. Daniel. Her voice hadn't changed. Soft, measured, the kind that once soothed me and left me defenseless. Emily. It's been a while. I forced my tone flat. No warmth, no anger, just neutral. Silence stretched. Then a sigh. I didn't know who else to call. That familiar pull of helplessness. I had fallen for it too many times before. What's going on? I asked. I think you deserve to know. Something. Something I should have told you years ago. Rain pressed harder against the glass. My stomach twisted. 5 years of distance suddenly felt like 5 seconds. What could she possibly want to say after all? This time, I met Emily when we were both 27. She worked in marketing at a downtown firm. I was a software engineer, just starting to climb the corporate ladder. Her laugh could light up a room, and her drive matched mine. We built a life, an apartment, a dog, the dream of kids one day. For a while, it seemed perfect. Then it didn't. Late nights at the office. Her phone turned face down on the table. Excuses stacking up like dirty dishes. I asked questions. She gave half-truths. I told myself she was tired, stressed, overworked. But deep down, I already knew. I'll never forget the night it broke. The smell of rain on her coat when she walked in. Too late. Too perfumed. I asked where she'd been. She said work. I asked again. She said I was paranoid. Then I found the messages. Not even hidden well. Just her and Eric, her coworker, laughing, planning, meeting. In hotel rooms I never knew she rented. When I confronted her, she didn't cry. She didn't deny it. She just looked at me with that blank stare and said, I don't think we make each other happy anymore. And that was it. Our marriage ended 5 years ago in a single cold sentence. Daniel, are you still there? Her voice pulled me back to the present. I'm here, I answered quietly. What is it, Emily? She paused. I heard her uneven breathing. I lied to you. About Eric. About everything. I clenched my jaw. I already know you lied. That's why we're divorced. No, she said quickly. Not just that. You never knew the whole story. My grip tightened around the phone. Then tell me. She inhaled shakily. I was pregnant. The room seemed to spin. Pregnant. My voice cracked. Yes. Back then, around the time things were falling apart. I swallowed hard. And whose was it? I thought it was Eric's. That's why I left. That's why I pushed you away. But it wasn't. The rain blurred into a steady roar. What are you saying, Emily? I had a son, Daniel. He's 4 now. And he's yours. I stood frozen, staring at my reflection. In the dark window. Older. Harder. Lonelier. You kept my child from me. I didn't know, she whispered, her voice breaking for the first time. I swear I didn't know. I only found out a few weeks ago during a medical test. Eric's, not his. Father. You are. My mind raced back to those last months, her distance, the fights, the excuses. I remembered wanting to start a family, and her saying, not now. And all this time, my son. I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry, Daniel. I was scared. I thought you'd hate me. I didn't want to tear the past open again. Scared. My voice rose despite myself. You stole 5 years of my son's life. Do you know what that means? She was crying now. I know. And I'll never forgive myself. A storm of thoughts tore through me, rage, betrayal, grief for years I'd never get back. And under it all, one aching question, what now? The following week blurred, lawyers, emails, restless nights. She sent me photos. Him at the park, at preschool. His hair sticking up in the mornings the same way mine used to. His name was Ethan. The first time I met him in person, he was shy. He held Emily's hand and peered up at me with careful brown eyes. My eyes. Something inside me cracked open. Hi, Ethan, I said, kneeling down. Mom says you're my dad, he asked softly. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, buddy. I am. Co-parenting with Emily was like walking barefoot over broken glass. Every word measured, every look loaded with history we couldn't erase. Sometimes she tried to apologize. Sometimes she stayed silent. One night after Ethan was asleep during a weekend visit, she lingered. I know I don't deserve it, she whispered, eyes on the floor. But I hope one day you can forgive me. I looked at her. The woman I once loved. The woman who ruined me and the mother of my child. Forgiveness isn't a gift, I said quietly. It's a process. And right now, I'm just trying to be the father he needs. She nodded, tears shimmering but held back. Months passed and I built something. Not with her, but with Ethan. The zoo. Saturday pancakes. Bedtime stories with all the voices, no skipped pages. Slowly, the ache shifted into something else. Not forgiveness, not yet, but purpose. Emily and I still bore scars. We always would. But one night, as I tucked Ethan into bed, he whispered, I'm glad you're here, Dad. And in that moment, for the first time, since that rainy Thursday, I didn't feel like I'd lost everything. I felt like I had finally found something worth fighting for. Looking back, now, 5 years after the divorce and months after that call, I've learned something. Betrayal doesn't always end with ruin. Sometimes it opens a door to an unexpected beginning. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Emily fully. Trust isn't a switch, it's a bridge, rebuilt stone by stone. Some stones may never move, but for Ethan I'll keep building. For him, I'll show up. Even if the past remains a wreck of rain-soaked nights and unanswered questions, the future, his future, deserves better. And maybe one day, when he's old enough to ask why I wasn't there at first, I'll tell him the truth, that adults make terrible mistakes, but love, real love, can still grow from the ruins.